Hey there, welcome to CNN News 18. I'm Akanksha Swaroop. Now, the control over the US Congress remains in a limbo. But what the US midterms have managed so far is to establish the fact that the United States remains deeply divided. Divided over issues of economy, abortion, democracy, immigration, gun control, education, and even climate. The shape that the Congress now takes will reflect the deep divide within the United States. To quote Joe Biden, the giant red wave did not happen, contrary to the predictions by the press and the pundits. The House results were hardly a wave, but the Republican gains have pushed the party closer to a House majority. But Mr. President's election night is best summed up in the two congratulatory messages he sent. The first to Representative Abigail Spanberger and the second to Pennsylvania Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman. It should be noted that Biden's messages buck decades of midterm losses for a first-term president. While results in the House continue to trickle in as we speak, all eyes are on Arizona and Nevada that remain undecided. This as Georgia's contest heads to a December 6 runoff. But it was John Fetterman who boosted Democrats' hope of a Senate majority as he flipped the Senate seat of Pennsylvania. More importantly, White House officials have already begun pointing out that their losses are not as bad as previous midterm wipeouts. And yet, in an election of historic firsts, Republicans on Capitol Hill have made it abundantly clear that is, if they gain control over the Congress, Joe Biden must brace up to get investigated. A simple majority in the House or Senate would hand GOP lawmakers powerful chairmanships on a number of oversight committees. This will give them the ability to launch investigations targeting Joe Biden and even members of his family. But that threat is certainly not stopping Joe Biden from seeking re-election in 2024. This simply because the Dems have staved off the worst-case scenario congressional losses in Tuesday's midterms. Moreover, what seems like a pleasant surprise for the Democrats has been a nightmare for some Republicans. And these are the election deniers endorsing Donald Trump's claims of an election fraud in 2020. Trump's handpicked Senate candidate in Pennsylvania, Dr. Mehmet Oz, lost to Democratic Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman. In Michigan, Trump endorsed Republican Tudor Dixon, who lost a gubernatorial race. And not just Dixon, news anchor turned gubernatorial candidate Kari Lake is one of Trump's most high-profile candidates. Unfortunately for her, she's trailing Democratic Governor Katie Hobbs. In Pennsylvania, Doug Mastriano is the Republican candidate for governor. He was convincingly defeated by his Democratic rival Josh Shapiro. What's noteworthy is that Mastriano acted as Trump's front person in attempts to overturn the 2020 presidential result. Moreover, he was present at the January 6 insurrection at the US Capitol too. That the US midterms have rejected election deniers is not a remark on the Republicans, but Donald Trump himself, one that brands him as a sore loser. This as his party rival Ron DeSantis swept to victory in a landslide in Florida. DeSantis has already fueled talks of a 2024 challenge to the former president. And that perhaps explains why Donald Trump is threatened by DeSantis. Something that was apparent when Donald Trump omitted DeSantis' victory in his speech, even though he lauded Marco Rubio. Donald Trump is in for a stiff challenge from a coterie of Republican hopefuls. And that not only includes Ron DeSantis, but Mike Pence too. Once a loyal deputy to Donald Trump, last year's Capitol riot splintered his relationship with Trump. Then there's Mike Pompeo, the congressman from Kansas, who already has a major role in shaping U.S. foreign policy under the former Trump administration. Liz Cheney, Glenn Youngkin, Nikki Haley and Rick Scott are other names doing the rounds as well. But what's crystal clear is the fact that the path to the 2024 presidential election has already been paved. and many are already waiting in the wings. Take two. But what's crystal clear is the fact that the path to the 2024 presidential election has been paved and many are already waiting in the wings.